Good evening, everyone. It's Tuesday night. I hope everyone had a safe and happy 4th of July. I know I had a lot of fun. I mean, you guys seen that on the video of me blowing up stuff as usual. Give me 1 second to share this out to one more group since Facebook's rearranging all the groups that I share to as usual. That's nothing new. And shut off the Wi-Fi. Boom. And we are ready to go. So we're going to name off the list of sponsors real quick. And then we got a show tonight. We're going to talk about the Green Tempest. So we've got Melone Management with Lisa Melone. Do you have a project that's running right now, an Indiegogo, Kickstarter, any type of campaign that you have going on? Hit up Lisa Malone. She can help you check out stretch goals. She can help you with advertising and sharing your project while you crank away on that project that you've been working so hard on. We've got 183 Degree Studios with Alfred Trujillo, Doobie Doobie Doo, and Miss AZ Power Girl Kara Nicole. Check out their Kickstarter right now with 52 card pinup, as well as their Patreons and 183degreestudios.com. Links are all in the description up above. We also have Codex Entertainment LLC with Luis Torres. Check out his projects Lily the Demoness with Lily the Demoness Chapter 5, live on Kickstarter right now. Link is in the description, as well as his other projects, Ace and Starlet, Whispers in Necropolis, and Nebula Pearl. We also have Naughty Fairies with Miss Wendy Steen Shaner. Check out Naughty Fairy Stripper Assassins. There's the Etsy link up above where you can get caught up on all those awesome issues, as well as the backer kit link for Naughty Fairies Con 2.0. Check out those links, get caught up on the pages, and I believe there's still some of those Stripper Day issues still available. We also have Outpost 426 Studios with CB Zane and Michael Shoemaker. They just blew it up on Kickstarter with the Mighty Might #1. And check out their other projects as well as Into the Suck and Scorpion. I had a brain fart for a second. So much to spit out there. And their upcoming project, which I'm super excited about, Black Rabbit, will be coming out later this year. And last but not least, we got DPopp Customz with Dustin Poppins. Do you have a print that needs to be jazzed up, lit up, played to some music? You just need to dust it off and get it hung on the wall in style. Hit up DPopp Customz and he can hook you up with a custom frame and do whatever it is that you might need. So without further ado, we're going to bring out Mr. Brett Sherman.
What's going on?
What's going on? And we got Javier Lugo. Is it
Hello.
Lugo or Lugio?
Lugo. Lugo is
Lugo.
fine. Yes,
Lugo.
sir. Yeah, where are you going? To the Lou? Yeah, Lugo. There you go. That's it.
Lou. Yeah. Well, hey, I live about 45 miles from the Lou, so
There you go.
there
All
you
right.
go. So how you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
As long as you don't blow away, right, Brett?
Trying not to, man. Dang storm.
Man, that's the bad thing about living on the coast like that. So you got this awesome project. You got the Green Tempest. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit last year, and we talked about kind of your intro into art and stuff like that, Brett. But I kind of want to rehash that a little bit. How did you get into drawing some of your drawings for like your pinup book and stuff like that?
This guy over here next to me, Javier, I met him at a comic book store that's no longer in business. Unfortunately, it shut down before COVID got a hold of it, but because of that, I met him. I was watching him draw. He was doing was it a pop version of the Hulk?
Yes, it was the Red Hulk and the Green Hulk, like split in the middle, and like this, like, and in pop form.
Yeah, that was really cool, and I just fell in love with art right there. I picked up a Batman sketch cover that he had on the table. I was going to get an Adam West and a Heath Ledger Joker, which I did get the Heath Ledger Joker from another artist that was there the same day. But I didn't get the Adam West one at that time. But I saw another cool one that I really liked, so I picked it up and I paid for that one. The next day I went home, I slowly started to draw, trying to do like the bat symbol. Oh, yeah. They let you on, didn't they, Philip?
Wow.
So you started out with the bat symbol, huh?
Yeah, I started out with the bat symbol, and then I just slowly moved into more detail, trying to get better as I go along. And here I am 3 years later. And along the way, I created this character just because I wondered what it would be like to do a Hulk and Flash combination. So I started to just draw one, and I liked it. It was crude back then, as my art got better over the years. But I found somebody that kind of tweaked it around a little bit and made it more of an alien version. And talking to Javier, we come up with a name that unfortunately couldn't be used because it was owned by DC. Came up with Green Lightning, and unfortunately that was DC character. So I was working with somebody else at the time, and we were messing around with a name, came up with Green Tempest. But that relationship kind of fell through. So I paid for the rights to the name, but I bought back the rights to the character because I didn't know what I was doing at the time, so I sold the character. But I bought it back. I really wanted to work with Javier from the start. So I went up to him 2019 in August, and I talked to him about doing the comic book. Paid him right there for a few of the pages. Went home that night, paid him for some more before he even started drawing. And right then we would just start working. And 3 years later, 3 years for me anyway, we finally got a Kickstarter going right now for Green Tempest.
And it's such a great feeling, isn't it? You know, finally seeing your love, your passion, what you've always wanted to do come to fruition, and it's like now you're out there showing it to the world.
Yeah, I I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it right now, even though we're 13 days, almost 12 days left on the campaign.
And Philip
Still
said
can't believe
Javier did a
it.
great job on the interiors. Brad is just riding his coattails.
I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm not afraid to admit that at all. If it wasn't for him, this book wouldn't be done.
Yeah, but you had to write it to begin with, though. So
I
you
had
wrote the
to, I
book.
had to write it, but he came along and did a lot of editing that I didn't know I was doing wrong and made the story that much better.
Well, that's what you call a symbiotic relationship. That's what everybody dreams of in the comic book world, or any, even in the book, is having people that want to help you make your project better. And you fell into that with Javier because he was like, "Hey, man, this could use some tweaking. This could use some editing. This we can make this better." And you didn't go, "How dare you say my project isn't the best thing since baked bread?" You're like, "Okay," and you guys made something great, and that's what makes a great book. I mean, that in itself admits, how much better this book's going to be because you guys worked together on it. You had a story. Javier looked at it, he drew it, and he said, "Hey, we can make this story a little better. We need to tweak a few things and fix it." And you were okay with that, and you guys made it together instead of butting heads over it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted all along. Was I wanted to learn the process.
That's right. Terry said you guys were a team, and
Yes, we will.
and that speaks volumes for Javier. Teaching you the ropes and helping you get to this book to where it needed to be. So Javier, I want to kind of see, how did you feel when Brett confronted you and said, "Hey, I know we met at this comic book thing. I have this idea for a character. What do you think about doing the art for it?"
Oh, I said no immediately. No. Well, no, it's true. I I was on a big kick at the time of being personally responsible for the projects and to make sure that I don't promise in something I can't commit to and I can't fulfill. So, of course, blowing deadlines is the worst thing you could do as a freelancer. And I was doing that. And I could tell I was losing steam. I was not very inspired. And also my collaborators were waiting on me to finish my portion so they could do their portion. And every day that I delayed, it was a delay on their end. And then they're not getting paid and they're going hungry. And who they're angry at? The lazy
You.
bum who's not drawing the comics, right?
Yeah.
So I made sure that from now on, or when at the time around 2015, I'm thinking from now on, if I can't do it, doesn't matter how hungry I am, it doesn't matter if my house is falling to pieces or my car doesn't work. I'm just not going to take money for art. I can't until I know I can tell them, hey, I'm not available now, but I'll be available in 3 months. At that point, I can put in whatever work you need. So once I got that sense of responsibility and deadlines, how sacred they are, it changed me. So I honestly, I don't say no to money most of the time, right? I mean, most of us don't say no to money, but I had to tell Brett, I'm sorry, I can't do this right now. I have two other projects that are already in the way. I can't do it. I mean, it's great that you want to do this, but I can't. So as he said, about a year later, of course, I had cleared my plate. I was available. He approached me again and said, hey, listen, this is not working with this other process that I'm doing. I really wish, um, and I really wish Philip would quiet down, right? I mean, everywhere we go, Phil, 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 Uncle Phil. But in any case, um, I'm like, hey, I can do this now. It'll be little by little, and we could do it, no problem. Of course, I hit a road bump, and I had another comic book, Bobby Fulton and the Fantastics, a wrestling comic book that I was working on at the time. That I was going to split, my time between both books because neither one was a rush. However, Bobby Fulton, he got sick. He was going through throat cancer at the time. So I asked Brett, hey, Brett, do I have your permission to kind of concentrate on this one book so I can get it out? Because the man, you don't know how cancer can be. You get 6 months and, 6 weeks later, you're done. So, that was my fear. So, yeah, Brett was gracious enough to say, hey, listen, don't worry about it. Take care of that. And then when you come back, just concentrate on my stuff. And that's exactly what happened. I finished the Bobby Fulton #2. I jumped on Green Tempest and, you know, 4 pages a month, 6 months down the road, we're done. It was fantastic how it built on itself. The first pages, you can see as you go through the book how confident I get with the characters, with the setting, with the power set, with the environment. As I go along, as I'm doing this book, I'm learning so much. I get to draw mountains and forests and buildings and explosions and icebergs and apartment buildings and flying people and thunderstorms and I mean and a super powerful hero. I mean, gosh, I draw super speed, super strength, flight, electrical powers, and that's just the good guy. Jeez, it's a comic book, and that's exactly what I want to do. I want to do comics. And Brett just on a silver platter said, "Here's this. What do you think?" I said, "This could be awesome. Write it down. Great ideas, but telling me I'm gonna help. Write this sucker down and give it to me. And we'll massage it. We'll fix it. We'll figure it out." And Brett was always open to suggestions. Always really great to collaborate with. When I asked permission to extend the story because it kind of needed it, he's like, no problem, I'll take care of you. I got you. And I said, you know what? I got you right back because like he said, he paid me up front. Russell, do you know how often that happens to me when people hire me for projects and they say, how much is it? I tell them a price and they say, sure, let's go. And literally within 2 weeks, I was completely paid. It's never happened to me before. This man right here. That's why he got the best work of my career.
I believe in him that much.
Terry
Oh,
said
hey.
Javier is just as excited about this as Brett. What perfect timing.
Yeah, Terry, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, and hello. Hope you're doing okay. But yeah, it was a fantastic, confluence of things that happened at the right time. So it all worked out. And as excited as I may seem right now, this is what indie comics does to me. I love it. I love drawing comics. I love the interaction. I love the creation of it. And I may be, after a 10-hour day, I'm exhausted. But you know what? I bring it. I love this stuff. I love talking to people. I love, you know, uh, just the possibilities when you say something and it just sparks something in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to use that in the next pose. It's just fantastic. And Brett wrote it, and Brett and I, continuously talk to each other, and we insult each other like friends do. But it's all in fun. And of course, I have the greatest respect for Brett as a creator because I want him to succeed, and because his success is my success. And partnerships, that's what they're born out of. If I succeed and Brett doesn't, how does that help anybody? It doesn't, because the
No.
next guy looking at me is like, wow, this hobby person, he just wants him to be successful, screw everybody else. And then guess what? It dies on the vine. I got no follow up. And me without drawing comics, I got nothing. That's why one of my hashtags is let's make comics. It's not I make comics. It's let's make comics. It's us.
And Philip said to find an artist as passionate about the project as a writer creator is rare but awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know where to find one now.
So you mentioned drawing all these cool powers and all these, flying people and stuff. So what is the power set of Green Tempest? Like, what are some of the powers of it?
We're talking about Green Tempest specifically, or
Yes.
Green Tempest and the bad guy?
Well, just Green Tempest specifically, and then you can talk about the bad guys if you want to.
Well, right now, all we're showing is the super speed and his ability to get as big as the Hulk. So what we're seeing the lightning and stuff that comes with the super speed, kind of like the Flash does.
Mm-hmm.
He basically got the powers of the Flash and the Hulk. That's it. But when he gets the size of the Hulk, he does not lose any of that speed. So as you can see there, that's the normal size of him right there on the main page there. That's one of the scenes inside the book. He's saving two of the civilians right there inside of the book. And I love the way he just drew those lines in there, and I think it's kind of cool the way the color makes it pop.
Yeah, the colors really add such an extra dimension to the entire story. I mean, it wouldn't. I mean, personally, I kind of like the black and white, but that's how I consume art is penciled and inked pages. But for comics, I mean, look at that bad guy character right there. Look at the striation on his chest muscles. It's fantastic, and it's all done with color. I didn't do that. That's the colorist putting their artistry in there, and it just elevates the book and it elevates us.
Thanks for stopping by, Philip. Have a good show, buddy.
All right, enjoy, Philip.
But yeah, the colors are beautiful on this. The line art is fantastic, and you from what you were talking, I'm gonna go through and kind of show off some of the art from it. But when you were talking, drawing apartment buildings and drawing flying people and powers. I mean, you can tell from all these scenes, there's a lot of chaos going on.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to show. We wanted to show the chaos of the bad guy going after the civilians, kind of tormenting Green Tempest for a reason. But that's a reason that you'll have to find out by reading the story, unless you go back and watch another video where Javier told the secret.
And you'll just have to dig for that. Go back and watch all of them.
Well, I won't divulge. No, not anymore.
I had to give him a hard time. It's not really that important that it was a secret. I just had to give him a hard time.
But here we have the panel here where you were talking about where he goes from his normal form to his kind of hulked up form.
I love how he did that. That is just so amazing how he showed the progression.
Here you got some more chaos going on. You got some apartment buildings blowing up in the background, some more superpowers, laser beams.
Oh, that's some amazing action.
So, we talked about Green Tempest. Let me fix the screen here. Are you gonna fix? No? Maybe? Yes? There we go. So we talk about Green Tempest a little bit. So, Brett, how long have you been, reading comics? What was kind of your introduction to comics?
Really, it's only been the last 3 years. I went to sell some old video games that I had. And
So what you're saying is you gave up one hobby for another.
no, well, yeah, I gave up video games for artwork, but I went to sell some video games, the old video games that I didn't even have the system for anymore. And they told me that just a couple of doors down was a comic book store. I had never been in a comic book store a day in my life. So I walked in there, and what do you think the first comic book was that I saw?
Batman.
It was a Batman book. Not just any Batman book, though. It was a Batman comic book based on the 1966 TV series. Adam West is my all-time favorite Batman. And so I was just hooked right there. I didn't know anything about comics, so I didn't know what I was getting into about collecting. I still don't know what I'm getting into about collecting. So I'm just collecting what I think is cool.
Yeah. And that's what you do, man. You don't, there's a lot of people these days that chase after what book is bringing in the most money. And then you have, the collectors like you and I who go out there and search out what we love, I don't always get high grade Vampirella books, but I love collecting the old Vampirella Warren magazines. I mean, like Javier said, the black and white art is just fantastic. I mean, it doesn't get any rawer than this. Sorry,
I
it
think
goes
you
from.
only got it because of the chicks, Javier. Don't let him fool you.
I'll
Well,
admit that's what I bought Savage Sword of Conan for, bro.
well, and Brett, back then when the Vampirella with the Warren magazine, she wasn't even the star of the book. She was just kind of like the Crypt Keeper is in Tales from the Crypt. She would have a short story in there about her, and she would have a few appearances where she would talk about the stories. But there was, multiple characters throughout the books. It wasn't until later on that it more evolved into, hey, Vampirella is the main sales because she's a chick, and all these pervs are out there like, hey, man, we want to see some more Vampirella. And they're like, all right, we'll give the fans what they want. Back when they used to give the fans what they want, in the big time books, right? But now indie comics have to fulfill that, and that's what's so great about indie comics is we self-publish, we go out and we try to kickstart these things because we want to give the fans what we want. Everybody asks me, why didn't you go through a publisher? Why didn't you publish your book through a publisher? That I don't understand why you would want to self-publish your book. And it's like, I want to handle the book that I send out to somebody. I want to know that it was wrapped nicely, that they know it came from the person that created it with love. I don't want some person in a warehouse taking one of 10,000 copies off the shelf and slapping it in a bag and throwing it in. I want it to get to the consumer the way they want it. In 3 years, if they want me to take the trilogy and put it in one book, I don't have to be like, oh, excuse me, big publisher person, can I make all 3 books into one book and sell it? No, it doesn't belong to you anymore. You don't have the ability to please your fans. And what we do is great because we can put our product out there the way we want it to be. We can tell the stories the way we want them to be. It's not the watered down, what's mainstream right now, what's going to sell, what is super popular. We go against the grain, we do what we want, and people read it and they're like, holy crap, this is awesome. And so, that's the great thing about self-publishing is we have the ability to do what we want and, please the fans, give them what they want.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's what we were aiming for was to give fans what they want in this family friendly comic book. There's no cussing, there's barely any violence as far as I don't see any blood or nothing. There's
Okay, yes, there
destruction.
you go.
There's destruction.
Javier's like, what? No violence? I mean, there's no blood, but, we got a little chaos going on here and there.
There's plenty of destruction going on because who doesn't love destruction, whether it's kids or adults?
It's Wile E. Coyote style stuff. I mean, people get
Exactly.
smacked, they get punched, they get smattered, and all kinds of stuff, and
Yeah,
they
it's
make
just
it back.
it's just not invincible where, people are getting their heads punched off, like
Right?
literally.
Yeah, their eyeballs coming out. No, that's not our cup of tea. You know.
There's one page. There's one page that's not on the Kickstarter that Javier drew that I just absolutely thought was hilarious and cool at the same time. He took two large boulders of ice and squashed Green Tempest. He just put those things. He just squashed him.
When the instructions are, hey, they fight for 3 pages, I'm gonna be creative.
Yeah,
And
ad
if
lib, right?
I love it.
right, I mean, if this guy can create like icebergs out of the sky, why not use them like telekinesis and just smack them together and smack the good guy with it? There
That's
you
the
go.
creativity I wanted to give the artist when I hired him. I didn't want to put do this, do that. I wanted him to be able to create. Because that's when I think the real magic happens is when they're able to create on their own.
Yeah, and give them, everybody knows I gave the artist full creativity pretty much, as long as they followed the scheme of things with, Raziel's suit and stuff. And, you know, they had fun with it. I mean, that's the thing. If you give an artist creativity to do with what they want, they they're going to draw in their style. I mean, too many people go to artists and say, "I want you to draw this like this person." And it's like, okay, if you want that person to draw it, go pay that person those big dollars that they charge and have them draw for you. I don't draw in that style. Javier, I draw in Javier's style. This is my style. I'll draw it in my style if you want me to draw in my style, and that's what I wanted from the artist. And, it was really funny because, like with Steph Wilson, for instance, Steph started drawing a picture and he's like, I just don't know what to do with this. He's like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I like it. It's pretty cool. I didn't have any problems with it. But he's like, well, you wanted my style, didn't you? And I was like, yeah, I told you, draw it in your style. This is your vision. How do you see the character? Off of my description, off of the base art, how do you see the character in your mind? Oh, okay, I got this. And like the next day, he's like, what do you think about this? And I was like, that's awesome. That's what I wanted.
Hmm.
And it's like, it's really hard sometimes for artists, to be like, what? I get to do what I want? Wait a minute. But, I would.
If it was women, we all know how he drew them.
Hey, you know what? He didn't miss getting the big circle in there, so you got the moon in there.
That's nice, man.
But, and I love that, hearing another creator say, I gave the artist full creativity with it because, you get to a part, you're trying to relay your story, Brett, to Javier, where you're saying, well, I want this to happen and this to happen. And, sometimes the artist has problems processing that because we all envision words differently, which is why, when I gave my words for my novel to the artist, I'm like, do what you envision. And so they're going to draw it the way that they envision it. And it may not be the way that Brett envisioned it. But, Brett looks at it and goes, dang, Javier, what you did with that was awesome. Like the iceberg thing, having creativity to do that. And I think that's really cool. I really dig that. I think this is going to be an awesome project. And I'm really excited about it.
I'm
Yeah, you
really
said
proud of
something.
it.
You said something really important. Having fun. Having a fun script to work with is key. Having a good collaborator, of course, is tremendous. But having fun makes the project that much better. Because you know what? When I'm getting up 3 hours earlier to draw, it needs to be fun. I have to
Yeah.
look forward to doing it. When, it's late at night, the dog is sleeping, everybody's sleeping, and it's the middle of the night, and I put on a podcast, yeah, it's gotta be fun. Otherwise, if it's a tedious thing to do, I'm not gonna make those sacrifices for it. But this book, it just flew. It just flowed out of me. It's like, yeah, I couldn't wait for the next trick to try out. You know, what can we do with the speed? What can we do with the guy with the powers? What can we do? How can we flip it? I didn't want a straightforward confrontation, which it is, but I wanted to ebb and flow. I wanted the good guy to struggle, then the bad guy to be really overpowering, so that way when the good guy wins, it means something. I mean, because if you just go from page 14 to page 21, the good guy wins and it's over. But I want to take you there. I want you to feel something in that action. Uh, and that's a great time to, if Brett wants to put in whatever he wants, what motivates the character, why is he doing these things, or not. I mean, there's a page there that there's no dialogue. It's not needed. Just special effects for the destruction of the powers, and it's just fun. Just look at it, enjoy it. Go to the next page. I want you to, at least my vision is for you to take this roller coaster ride with us, because I enjoy comics. I read them, and there are comics that take me 20 minutes to read. There's some that take me 5, and they're all enjoyable in their own way. So I was looking more for that pop uh, lightness to it. We're not. It's not Watchmen. It's not Sandman. It's Green Tempest. It's kind of Dragon Ball Z inspired, goofy Kamehameha stuff. It's fine.
That's the
Dragon
first
Ball
thing I thought
Z.
of when I seen him in the Hulk mode. Is that I was thinking of Piccolo. I was like the green and the blast coming out. That's the first thing I thought of.
That was just, as Bob Ross would call it, a happy accident. I did not plan that, because another thing I've never seen. I've never seen Dragon Ball Z.
I think we lost some backers on that one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it just went negative.
All right, all right. I'll take care of that. I'll take care of that, Brett. I'll get the VHS. I'll take it to your house. I'll show you in order how it makes the Dragon Ball symbol on the side, and you'll watch it.
VHS, really, Javier? Oh, jeez.
Testing.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, we're good. I muted him for a second so the echo would die out because I think it started echoing and it reverberated through all of ours. I'm gonna bring him back now.
It's okay. I was feeling all, Bruce Lee, with the slow motion.
So Terry, will he build his powers, create more?
Well, that's a great question. I did put some thought into the bad guy. His power set was kind of normal level, but I kind of extrapolated a little bit upon it by, drawing upon Avatar. I have elemental powers, water, wind, or so I thought water. I remember the water tribe, how they used water and ice and all this other stuff. And Hailstorm's power is, actually, I guess I can't really divulge it. I'll divulge it. Whatever. You're gonna get the book anyways. It's acid rain. That was his power, acid rain. And acid rain is fine on an ecological level, right? If I'm gonna, damage the Statue of Liberty, acid rain works. But as a power against you and me, you'll punch me out before I can make it rain, right?
Yeah.
There was no reason you couldn't divulge that. The way I see it is the way he had explained it to me. X-Men meets the Flash meets the Hulk.
There you go.
Because you got Hailstorm, who's kind of got the powers of a male version of Storm.
Yes, that's the way you explained it to me. That's right. Here I am. I'm realizing this, way late.
Can you believe I ironed this guy?
I know. I'm sorry. I took your money and ran. My bad. Brett, I love messing with you. But But yeah, the power sets, will they grow? I'm expecting them to. I mean, we got issue 2. Something's got to happen.
Yeah.
Will we have more characters? I've challenged Brett. Yeah, let's make some
Yes.
more characters.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. Yeah.
there's the official answer, ladies and gentlemen, because I didn't get one. But now here we are, live on Russell Allen's show. Russ Explodes. He just said yes to
You
more
need to have
powers and more
a talk
characters.
with me, Javier, because I told you about this character that I have made.
Dude, it's broadcast, bro. Come on, work with me.
I told you about it.
Yeah, I know you did. I don't remember. We'll talk.
That's 50-year-old and you kicking in.
I know. I invite this guy to my 50th birthday and he's throwing it on my face all the time. Thank you, Brett. I appreciate you. If you were here, I'd toss a mint at your forehead. But, with
You
all
look
due
like,
respect.
you look like you're 20. Come on.
Yeah, well. All right. Well, enough about the bad stuff turning older. Let's talk about cool stuff. Let's talk about Green Tempest. How's it going, Brett? What did you expect out of this whole thing when you said Kickstarter? Huh? What's that?
Yeah, that kind of freaked me out a little bit because it's my first time and I did not know what to expect. It was a bit of a rocky road, I think, because we had a launch party going to start the Kickstarter, and we had a lot of stuff we had to fix on it. So that we got started later than we wanted to, or at least later than I wanted to, because I had a schedule we needed to keep, which we're still lucky enough to keep that schedule of getting it out by the end of July, first part of August for Tampa Bay Comic Con. So, yeah, that was nerve wracking there, trying to get everything to be just perfect for the people that want to back the story. If not for the story, back it for the artwork that Javier did, because it's just the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
All right, I'm back for now. I don't know what happened. Our internet service just completely cut. I lost it on everything. She lost it upstairs too. So
I sent
I'm,
Elsa your way.
yeah, I'm like, I called my wife. I said, "Did our internet just go out?" And she goes, "It sure did because I lost it on the TV because we're on separate networks." And I'm like, "You got to be kidding me! How does Brett still have internet and I don't? He's close. I'm in the center of the freaking the continent, and he's right where the hurricane is, and I lose internet. What the heck? Technology these days." So I apologize. I missed the big reveal. Right, I was like, the internet killed us or something. Like right as you were about to say, talking about a new character, and he said, we're broadcasting. It was like bloop, everything went out. I was like, what happened?
Yeah, we already
Zuckerberg's like,
broke
no.
up, man. The Beatles broke up and we made it back together in that little time you were gone.
I fired
No,
him.
no, what
I
it was
fired him.
is Zuckerberg abducted both of you so he can steal your ideas and make his own comic.
Oh, jeez. I mean, according to the arrangement that we all agreed to, anything we post belongs to him. So, whatever.
So I apologize for that sincerely. I kind of want to talk about you a little bit, Javier. What kind of books did you read growing up? What was your big influence to get into comics? Like, what was like one of the first things you picked up that you got into?
Conan.
Oh man, Conan's awesome.
Well, okay. My introduction to comics, my mom, actually. We were living in Brooklyn. I was about 6 at the time. And, the first memory I have of comics is going to these department stores and getting, 12 socks for $2 and getting the cheap, tennis shoes at $1.99 and, the off-brand Woolworths that are, misbranded, right? Because they are fake. But I remember my mom would say, "Here's books. I'll be back in 10 minutes." She would go shop, and man, I would just go into the little digest, the Justice League and the special ones, and that was my jam. I'd go in there and I'd read those, and then, I'd grab 10, and mom would be like, "Just one." I'm like, "No, how can you do this to me?" So I'm traumatized, and I collect comic books because of my mother. There you go. Thanks, Mom. Love you.
So you didn't trade one addiction for another like Brett did. You just were like, you were traumatized as a kid because you couldn't read all these awesome comics, so now you're just like hoarding them as an adult.
Comics to me were a continuation of what I saw on Channel 7. On Channel 7, you would catch the Planet of the Apes series, you'd catch the Star Trek original TV series, and little things like that, right? So, of course, those are only 3 movies, 2 movies, certain episodes, but comics, good lord, there's like hundreds of them. I could never read every Spider-Man adventure. It's awesome. It's better than just getting 13 episodes in a season on the 60s Spider-Man with the psychedelic dancing, which was cool in its own way. But and that was my gateway, was TV movies that were made before I was born, to comics at the digest size, and then of course, the one that influenced everybody in the 70s, this small independent movie called War Stars or something like that. That was it. I remember coming home. My mom, we were standing and waiting for the subway to show up. And I looked, I said, wow, we got to come back. When's the next one coming out? Is it next week? That's how desperate I was for science fiction, cool stuff. And she says, no, honey, it's going to take a while. You don't even know if there's more. I'm like, how can there not be more? Are you kidding me? Is there anything before this? Because I was kind of used to seeing these stories in the middle of them, right? You get to the Planet of the Apes. That was it. The one where they're in the subway, and you could tell that Taylor was from some previous movie. He only shows up at the end, and this girl knows the ape girl, and so I'm kind of used to coming into the middle of the story and then saying, "Is there anything else?" They're like, "Yeah, sure." You missed the first 2, and then catching it up. But Star Wars wasn't like that. It kind of tossed me in the middle of it, but there was no pre-story. It was just, here you are. Here's this regular Joe, grabs a stick, boom, he's a soldier. He's King Arthur, man. And I'm like, wow, that's what I want. I want to be that guy. Of
And
course,
so,
they
what
make
did you
him Darth
think
Vader
when
this
they
time.
slapped episode 4 onto it?
The midi-chlorians? Yeah. It stopped being special. When it was one kid in the galaxy, kid could be anybody. It could be you, it could be me, it could be my daughter, it could be anybody. But now it's all this. I'm sorry, I guess I'm gonna say back and murder. But now it's all 2 families. That's it. It didn't matter that the Jedi Temple had a million people who all were Force users. Now it's just, you're either got the right last name or you don't. Good luck. So that was. I'll be honest with you. I think that is what made me not like the continuing adventures of Star Wars, because it couldn't be just anybody. When it was just anybody had the potential. Your friend, your neighbor, the guy at the bar, the one that the nerf herder could be a Force user. You didn't know until you had the right inspiration to be greater. Yeah, that could be me. But when they made it Palpatine and Skywalker's like, wow, I guess out of the whole galaxy, it's only 2 people that matter. And that's not a good message. I can't get behind that message.
No. So, how did your love for Channel 7 and comic books? How did that transition into art? Has art always been something that you've done?
It was emulating my older brother. Actually, he would draw his, skulls and devils and all this other stuff, and I'm drawing like Mother Day's cards with birds and stuff. So I followed him, and he moved on. He's older, about 4 years older than me, so he moved on to other things like cars and chicks. But I stuck with comics or drawing. Go figure. But yeah, if I drew a skull and my teacher walked by and saw it, I'd get in trouble. But if I draw He-Man and she has no idea who this is, yeah.
Rock on.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to do this in high school. I had super long hair and I'd hide it. My headset, I'd hide it in my hair and just jam out to Dio and Metallica all day in my science classes because it was so boring. Like, whatever. And I'm tapping on the table. Oh, crap. Nobody can hear me. Okay.
Terry asks, does the Green Tempest have his own world?
They live on their own planet. Yes, they do. It's called Tempest. And it's out of the book. It starts out kind of introducing the world a little bit. We're going to build on the world as we go along with book 2, book 3, however many books we feel like it needs to have before we move on to where we put them next.
To greener pastures, yes. That was just waiting there for you to say it, Brett.
And we boot him.
I know it's dad jokes all the time, guys.
This clown.
Well, talking about the world, I based it off of Brooklyn because not only because I was a kid there, but my favorite comics from the 60s and 70s, they all took place in New York. It was Marvel all the way, Black Cat, Spider-Man, even the Avengers, they were all based out of New York. And that's in my head, best comics were from that era.
I did what he said. I took out the clown.
Oh boy. Wow, Brett.
What a great time for the internet to come back up.
Isn't that something? It's funny. Yesterday, I was the one blanking out all the time, just going out. It's ridiculous. I couldn't even answer a question. It was sad. But
You're
now
lucky
it's Brett.
this is a PG show.
Oh, wow. Was he going to curse? R2, is that you?
R2, is that you?
Beep, 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 beep.
Beep, boop, 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 boop. I am C3PO, human cyborg relations.
What
were you going to say, Brett?
Yours.
What?
What is that say? You can't see me. You can't fire me.
You're fired.
Step into my office.
You got to do fired. You got to do the hand, Brett. Do the hand.
I'm not Donald Trump.
Oh man. So you guys are gonna do some world building in the first couple of issues and then move them on to greener pastures. So
yeah.
Yeah, I think I really do hope that we can get a good 3 or 4 issues, get a trade paperback, and get that in the hands of kids. I'd love nothing else than to, have third graders and second graders just enjoying the heck out of this, crazy green, bald, pointy-eared kid who's just wants peace, and everybody else is like, no, you won't have it. And, it's just, I don't know. It's a good message, and something I can get behind, and coming from the mind of Brett, it's fantastic. I don't have to think about this stuff. It's real easy for me to adjust. It's real easy for me to change the tires on a car. I don't have to make the car; I just change the tires. That's how I feel with Brett's stuff. Brett puts the stuff out there, and I don't think he even realizes how wide open to interpretation his stuff is. That it just allows me to just, wow, it could be this, but it also challenges me out of all the options. Which one is best for his vision? Does this serve his story? If it doesn't, guess what? It's cut. I've cut 2 or 3 pages just because of that, because it's fantastic. And I don't know. I just really enjoyed working on this book. Hey, Terry, thank you for your support. Certainly appreciate it. And you know what? I'm sure somewhere down the road we need a female superhero at some point. Because he can't be the only martial artist / superhero on the whole planet. Or can he? Can he, Brett? Could he? Should he?
It all depends on what direction we take this next character.
So stay tuned, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
So I know a big question that a lot of people want to know is how soon do you guys plan on getting issue 2 out there? Like, is this going to be a yearly book, or you think like once every 6 months? Like, how fast are you guys planning on getting them out there?
Well, it all does revolve around his day job, but I'm already currently writing book 2.
There you go. Good answer.
I'm already currently writing book 2, so the artwork depends on his daily work schedule.
No, I get that. I can appreciate that. I do the same thing, man. Do 2-3 live shows a week, and you get to your 9 to 5. Well, my 4 to whenever.
Right, right.
And then, trying to cram this stuff in. So I get it, but it was just kind of, I wanted to get like a ballpark estimate, so you're working on book 2. So as soon as you guys
Yeah.
can get the script finished, and then Javier can start working on the art. So possibly, beginning of next year, possibly for issue 2.
Yeah, definitely.
And our success with a Kickstarter is a kick in the shins to me as well. Because you never know how these things are going to work. You don't know. You could be real passionate about a project and it fizzles out. I have several comic books just like that. Lots of passion, good creators, good collaborators, and nothing. So, this thing is quite literally bigger than I ever expected. And, why would I delay? Don't get me wrong, I got a couple other projects that I've already committed to, but guess what? Things happen. Projects dry up, funds dry up, uh, people change the story. Plenty of times I've had to have multiple projects at the same time. When one's dry, I run to the other. Creativity, is very fickle. You could be totally into this one thing, and then one day is like, total stop. And I can't work on this anymore for at least 3 or 4 days. So what am I going to do with my time? Mentally, I'll go to this other project that's in a totally different genre. It refreshes me. I got a brand new perspective on drawing sci-fi. Do that for a couple of days, jump back to superheroes, then go back to horror. Eh, as an artist, as a visual artist, I can explore all those. I can't do that as a writer. For me, that would be very hard to mentally switch from writing horror to writing youth adult fiction to, slasher type stuff. It'd be really weird to me. I probably want to stay on topic, on theme until it's, at least the first draft is done.
And that kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier, where he talked about he had to work on Bobby Fulton and the Fantastics. I'm flexible with the schedule. I don't give him a deadline. It's whenever he can get it done, because he's got other projects I know about he needs to do. So I say, it's fine. Go ahead and do those other projects. So if that comes up again, that's just fine with me. It's whatever keeps it fresh and fun for Javier.
That's right. No burnout.
Yeah, I don't want him burned out.
Yeah, and that can happen. That can happen. And I learned that communication is key. The last thing I need to do is pull a Houdini and just disappear, or what do they call it now? Ghosting, just ghost somebody. Like, that's happened. Some of the projects that the writer just goes, or the inker goes and just disappears. You don't know if the grandparent died or they decided to become a Tibetan monk or something. You don't know. It's weird, but communication for me is key. I need to let everybody know, hey, if I promised you something, every time I remind them that I'm on target, as a reminder, I need to stay on target. It's great because, nobody's flabbergasted, like, why are you not doing my work? Well, every week I communicate with you. Hey, I've done this. Hey, this week productivity has been low. Hey, I'm projecting to do 1 page next week. That way expectations are set and expectations can be met as long as I'm responsible. And also, my collaborators can then start planning according to what I'm doing. It, you would think that drawing comics and making comics, it would be like the most straightforward thing, and it can be when it's a really well-oiled machine. But we're dealing with 7, 10 different lives. And all of us got drama, all of us got stuff, and for these things to call all align and end us up, and all of us end up with a good book. I find it almost miraculous. And when the books are great, that's when they get my money. That's when I support them on Kickstarter. That's when I go to the comic shop and pass on the Marvel and DC, and I pick up everything else. That's it. TV has something very similar, or is it movies, in which the writer does the stuff and writes it on spec, and most of the time the movie's about 40% what they put in, but it's very rare because most of the time it's 10%, or it's just the title and they just screw everything up. You know, look at most of your favorite movies. You'll see, oh, the book is always better. Well, of course it's better. It's a pure vision. When it comes to creative collaborations like movies, TVs, and comics, you got 7 chefs. You can't expect all of them to follow the recipe because they're going to want to freestyle and add a little spice here and add a little base here, and you know, overcook it, undercook it, and kind of steam a little. And the fact that we end up with a great book like we did, I contribute to our efforts, but also to the comic book gods, Mr. Kirby specifically.
Well, it's like you said with the whole movie thing. It's like, you're taking somebody else's vision and doing your uh, what you envision in their words. And, so, what I read and what you read, Javier, and what Brett reads, we all have our own vision in our mind. But you go and watch a movie based on that book and you have someone else's vision and you're going to watch it. 90% of the time, you're not going to like that person's vision or the way they perceived the book to be.
And that's an example of how hard it is to satisfy the writer. And in this case, I lucked out. It seemed like my vision excited Brett, which in itself is tremendous. That gives me tremendous joy. I don't want angry collaborators like, what the hell are you doing, dude? I wrote, he punches the wall.
Why is he throwing icebergs through the wall?
Exactly. Why is he destroying the whole entire block? I said he punches the wall in frustration. But he rolled with it. He likes it. And if I can get Brett to be happier with my work than what he gave me, to me, that's I did my job as a comic creator. Just regurgitating what he said or what he wrote. Okay, that does the job, but like, the Marvel way of drawing comics, there's doing the job and then there's being excellent at your job. And that's my job. My work is to make Brett look like a freaking genius. People are like, oh my gosh, what did he write? No, don't see what he wrote. Just enjoy the final product. Don't peek behind the curtain. That's the beauty of collaboration. He picks me up with his words when he comes in after the artwork and says, well, that's not where I was expecting. That's supposed to happen on panel 3 of page 17, but guess what? It works better here. Here you go. And he saves me. I may have messed up. He saved me. And I see an opportunity to do something really cool. There it is. And Brett is like, sure, do it. And again, back to communication. I don't do this stuff and then tell him. I check with him. Hey, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? I show him the little sketches, right? The little layouts that are tiny. Hey, man, what do you think? Would it be cool if you did this? 9 out of 10 times. Well, 10 out of 10 times. Brett's like, yeah, it's awesome. Do it. And gosh, we ended up with this great book. Well, yeah, we started off with great bones. We started off with great people together, and and Brett didn't just stop at me. He could have, excellence and all that, but he got a great colorist that elevated the work. And the final piece, let me give credit where it's due. Brian, our fellow Magnai, is the colorist on this book, and I loved what he did. His attention to detail and the enhancing the art, tremendous. And then the last piece of the puzzle, well, second to last piece of the puzzle, is Carlos Mangual, the letterer. I've seen lettering jobs kill the art, kill the story, make me uninterested. Boring font is a boring mental voice. Take me there. If you're excited or the character's scared, the lettering should make my brain kind of pick that up and like, oh, they're supposed to be scared, not bored, right? And Carlos, he's done. I'm assuming he worked for DC Comics out of New York, and then he moved with them to California with them, right? And he lettered Nightwing, Batgirl, Batman. I mean, this man has seen the best of the best come through his table, and he's lettered that. And now he's lettering my comic book. I mean, what's an equivalent of that of us? I don't know, going online and saying, "Hey, Neil, you want to write a Sandman Green Tempest crossover?" Sure, I already thought about it. Here it is. That's how weird that is. And his lettering literally made me laugh out loud when I saw it on my art. I know exactly what's happening. I got the plot. I know exactly what's being said. I got the script. I saw his lettering on it, and I giggled like a fat boy. Loved it.
I got goosebumps like a fanboy.
And that's Charlie. He's awesome. And I call him the second to last piece because there was a piece that we didn't know about that we needed and jumped in and helped us out. And it is Kickstarter related, and it's Sarah. Uh,
Yeah.
Sarah came in last minute, last day. The day we were going to do the launch and we were going to release it at 3:30 in the afternoon. She came in. It's like, guys, you could do this so much better, so much faster. It's super easy to do. I'm like, I don't even know how to read a book without pictures, and you're going to do this Kickstarter thing. It's easy. She's like, sure. I've been talking to Brett all day. Let me tell you all about it. And she started doing it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. Kind of like I'm really passionate. She was equally passionate about getting that Kickstarter, and she elevated it about, I don't know, I'll be humble, about 110%. And Brett, tell him about Sarah.
Oh my God. I met this woman about maybe a month ago, maybe more, because she owns this board game cafe in Zephyr Hills where we live. And on Mondays, she allowed the art club to come in and just do artwork that they were working on. So I went in there and we got to talking. I told her about my art book that I published. She wanted the book in her store. So from then on, she has just been so supportive of me. And when I told her about my comic book, she was so supportive of that. And she's just been so helpful with everything. The Kickstarter, any technical questions I've got. She's just been a very big part of the team. And I cannot thank her enough.
Well, go ahead and give her a store shout out if you want to.
I don't know how to say her last name. It's Sarah, and she's got a V in her name. Where is she?
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me, bro.
Veselov.
You got this. You got this. Veselov.
Veselov, I guess.
Just say it fast. It works
Veselov.
90% of the time.
I think that's it. Sarah Veselov. She's just been so amazing. We had a really big tier for retailers on this Kickstarter 2 hours into the launch. Her business took that big tier. So she's going to get her own cover. And what is it, 100 books?
Yes, there's 100 copies of the book, a retailer exclusive cover that I'm going to draw, Carlos going to letter, and Brian is going to color. And she gets the original art as well. And we sweeten the pot, just to entice people to give it a try, that if there were a retailer in Florida, I would personally deliver the comic books to you and spend 4 hours at your store signing books.
And she took that tier.
So I only have to travel 9 minutes.
Yep. And we've got this Kickstarter has been a kind of a retailer heavy thing because we've gotten 3 retailers on this Kickstarter. 2 of them are local. 1 of them in California, which I don't know how that one found us. So I'm just amazed at how much the retailers have come to backing us, supporting us.
It's awesome.
Yes, surprisingly so, Russell, because how often does a Kickstarter have a retailer option? Secondly, how often do retailers even look at Kickstarters? Most of the time it's after the book is printed that we approach the retailer and, please, can you sell my comic book, right? And the support from the retail end of comics has been tremendous. I mean, a good 50 to 60% of our two goal has been retailers, and I'm
Yeah.
tremendously honored and privileged and humbled by that level of support. And I can't wait to just share this with more people, which is, in a circular way, Russell, what we're doing today. We want this book to be in the hands of people to enjoy, to read it, to look forward to the next issue, to, if nothing else, read our book and recommend it to somebody, or, go on to the next comic. That's the beauty of Kickstarter and Indiegogo, is that there's always another comic book out there that can capture your imagination. Today we're all, into Dragon Ball Z. Tomorrow we can be into Demon Hunter, and the next day we can be into Naruto, and the next day it's the Joker. And there's all kinds of comics out there that we could just switch around as buying the buying public. We can't. So what I hope is, people are gonna stop, take a look at our stuff, and say, yeah, I'll toss a 20 on that. Why not? If not, hey, $2. That's perfectly fine too. It's a cup of coffee. Thank you very much. It's support. Support is support. That's key in any of these campaigns, as sharing it, liking it, and commenting about it, and commenting makes us feel good. Because I mean, it doesn't sell a book, but it makes us feel like, hey, all those hours and all those nights and all those weekend meetings, they were worth it because people are talking about our stuff. And that's, I don't know. I guess it's very similar to being a parent. You're proud of what your kids do, even if it's picking a booger successfully. Hey, they did it, yeah. You're just happy for it to for it to grow. So yeah,
And
Brett, you and I were parents. So
and Terry, to answer your question, I think yes. With Diamond shutting down and then them splitting off, and then now there being the two new distributors as far as comic books go, and then AT&T acquiring DC, and then going to more of a digital platform. I think a lot of comic retailers, seeing that here's the deal. The pandemic happened, the world shut down. Comic book stores didn't get comics, but Kickstarters were thriving. Why is that? Well, because indie comics keep creating. We didn't stop. We didn't shut down. We didn't stop what we were doing. We kicked it into high gear, and we kicked ass, and we made beautiful art and beautiful, words, beautiful stories. And I think retailers noticed that. I think retailers saw the fact that, hey, Marvel and DC, they can go away, but the indies still were thriving, and they did better than ever because they were the only thing out there. And then people started buying indie stuff and going, hey, this is great stuff here compared to the watered down stuff of the big two. And so I think, and since last year, we've seen kind of a transition to where I did a retailer tier on mine. You see a lot of people doing retailer tiers, and more people are starting to pick those up just because they want to carry the stuff in their store. They want to help support indie creators and bring stuff in, because most of the time you have people like, me or other people that'll go into a comic book store that's local and say, hey, such and such has got a project on Kickstarter right now that's kick ass. I really think a lot of your customers would like that. You need to, go check it out. They have a retailer tier. And so anybody that's watching this now or watches this back, you have the power to do that. You have the power to go into your local store, your LCS, or, if you buy online, say, hey, check out this book. I think it's something that a lot of people are going to dig. The retailer tier is not, inexpensive. You guys can recoup your costs on it easily. I think this is a great book. You really need to get behind it and, help get some of these projects into the eyes of more retailers to where they can help back these indie projects and these indie creations. So, yes, the indie section is getting larger and larger at the local comic shops, and you're starting to see Marvel and DC move to the side. When you walk in, a lot of the places, that's the first thing you see is the indie books.
Yeah, you opened my eyes, Russell, because I'm sorry, Brett, you go right ahead.
No, go ahead. You got it.
Well, what I was going to say, Russell, is that you opened my eyes to that, because in a very real way, when the pandemic hit, Marvel and DC abandoned the retailers. I mean, do you remember how they were letting artists go and they were just canceling books left and right? Yep. I mean, they left a large portion of the talent pool without work. But you know what? Like you said, indie comics kept on pumping stuff. And there was a demand for product that retailers could no longer go to them and say, give me. So they had to go to these alternate sources. And here it is. Now that you pointed out, it's really rare, but now I'm buying 6, 7 indie books, brand new books every week, and that didn't happen before. It was Dark Horse that maybe Image was as fringe as you got. Now it's a plethora of brand new issue ones, all kinds of different. I just got one called the Seven Swords. Fantastic. I got a science fiction one called Deep Horizon. Awesome. All these different genres are just showing up. And if you think about it, it's us little guys making this happen. These big corporations can't entertain us, but we're entertaining ourselves. We're creating our entertainment. It's not only is it a slap in the face to the big giants that how can you have all these awesome toys and not don't know what to do with it? And here we are with brand new toys that nobody knows about, and we're kicking ass. Really, we truly are, and our creativity is really showing. And one of the things I'm always worried about is my stuff derivative? Does it look like something somebody else did? Does it read like something somebody else did? Don't get me wrong, I wear my influences on my sleeve, and proudly so. But when we finish these comics, they don't look like anything that's been out there. They don't read like any of these big books that you grew up with, or I grew up with, or are coming out right now. So that's how I can personally say I'm making comics, because it's completely different from everything else. I drew just like everybody else. I drew like Arthur Adams and Michael Golden and John Buscema and all these other guys, Alan Davis and George Barris. I copied that. That was my high school education, was drawing these guys in the border of my notebooks, man. But now, is it a renaissance? I don't know. I don't think we were ever dead. I think we were underrepresented and very regional. The comic book guys in California didn't know that there were comic book guys over in Florida or Pittsburgh or Montana. But now, man, all it takes is one show like this, and we're crisscrossing the United States between 3 or 4 creators. And today's, hey, how you doing, turns into tomorrow's, hey, bro, you need some help? Let's jump in. Let's get it done.
When's issue 2 coming out? Well, we're ready for it. Hey, I need 40 more copies of issue 1 because we sold out the first day.
Those are great words. Brett, you're going to handle all that ordering stuff.
That's a dream come true right there to hear that.
That would be fantastic, yeah.
Well, we're going to pump it. We're going to put it out there. We're going to hope that happens. And, we're going to hope more people, get eyes on projects like this, where you have a true collaboration between artist and writer. And you guys are really pumping out something that you're passionate about. And I'm excited to read it.
It's going to suck when he retires.
Who's retiring? Me?
It's going to suck when you retire. You made the comment that you're not going to be able to do the amount of comics that I'm looking to do, buddy.
Dude, that was offline. Okay, all right. So here, he's going to toss my old age at me again.
No.
I got 10 years of comics in me, guys. I got 10 years of comics, so what am I going to spend my time on?
I'm saying,
Tempest.
Brad, do you have a basement?
I'm saying, I'm looking at doing...
Listen, my wrists are very small. I'll escape any change you put on it, bro.
I'm looking to be...
Libertad o muerte.
Look what Spawn's doing. It's 300 plus books. Well, I believe we can do 300 plus books on Green Tempest. And this guy here doesn't know if he's going to be able to do all that.
Right.
Personally, I don't want to see anyone else do it but him. But I will have to probably look into that later down the line. Later. Hopefully not soon.
Listen, wait until I die and then replace me, okay? Come on, man.
I don't want to replace you, trust me. I don't want to.
I'm going to replace you at some point. Okay, all right, no problem. I'm here for the long haul. Don't matter. Don't matter.
Want to.
Hey, he never said once he goes into retirement that he's not still going to be, passionate about this project.
Thank you.
He
Well,
may
I sure
retire
hope
from
not.
everything else, but this is going to be his baby, man. You think once he retires and he gets off of all these other collaborations that he's on, but he thinks he's going to let his baby go? How dare you, Brad? How dare you?
No, I don't want him to go anywhere. This is
I
our
got you, man.
book.
Don't worry about it.
This is our book.
You worry about that when the time comes, buddy. Until then, you keep making comics.
Thank you.
This
Thank
is
you.
ours. This is ours. Nobody
Let's
else.
make comics, Brett. That's the
Let's make
challenge. That's the
comics.
creed, brother. Let's make
We're gonna do.
comics.
We're gonna
Let's
do
make
it.
comics.
We're gonna do it.
So I have one last question. Javier, I wanted to ask you, do you take commissions, in case anybody in the audience that's watching now or watching later on comes back and watches this? Do you take commissions, or you strictly do like inside pages and stuff like that?
Well, at this point in time, do I take commissions? Yes. Yes, I do. Of course, I do. Um, am I concentrating on sequentials? Yes. And that's a choice. Because I can say that I'm a comic book guy, but if I got no comics, am I really a comic book guy? In my own mind, no, I'm not. If I got no comics, I'm not a comic book guy. I'm an artist. I'm a pinup artist. I'm a commission artist, and that's perfectly fine. And I did that for a decade, man. I love it. It's great. And my most recent work is phenomenal. I can't wait to show it off at the Tampa Bay Comic Con. And you're welcome to reach out to me. J Lugo Art is how you can find me online. I have a Square Online store. The prices are all there. Shipping is all there. You can still use the 20% discount from the launch party for this Kickstarter. And I do 2-page spreads. I do 3-page spreads. I do paintings, 11 by 17s. I do sketch covers. I do homages. I've literally, let me see, what was the most recent one that I'm really super proud of? Everybody remembers Silver Surfer #4? Was the cover where it's Silver Surfer versus Thor? Right? And they're coming at each other at this angle like this. Yeah. So this guy, I'm sorry, I'll make this story very quick. He comes to me and says, I want somebody who can actually draw what I'm asking of. So what is it? Well, I want this exact cover, but with Thor from 2021, and I want Silver Surfer from 2021. I said, I could do it. He says, but here's the thing, man. I've asked people to do this, and they charge me $100, and it's Stick Figure City. It doesn't look anything like them, and they do it in their own version, which I get, but can you do this to look like the original? I said, sure. I gave him a number. I gave him a time. He said, let's do it. Oh, gosh, I wish I had easy access to it. Best thing I've ever done when it comes to reenactment art is what I call it. And it's on a sketch cover, so it's super small already to begin with. And yeah, it's got Thor with his new costume, and it's got Silver Surfer with the black arm, and it's fantastic. I colored it and everything, which is even rarer. So yeah.
There's a couple of things of his that are my favorite.
Excuse me, guys. Hold on.
He did this really large one that's Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, hon, I know.
Where'd they go?
Oh, we're still here. I seen that cover in your hand.
Oh yeah.
Come on in. I'm not broadcasting. I put myself on mute.
No, you didn't.
Okay,
no
problem.
He didn't.
He turned the camera off, but he didn't put himself on mute.
All right.
I muted him. There, I muted him. And now I muted him, and he's back.
Yeah, my dog needed to be walked, so he came in.
Yeah.
He gave you the look.
You had your mic on, but the camera off.
Oh, you guys heard all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You heard the whining and the begging and the pleading?
No, just you.
Everybody that's married understands what that's all about. Let's move on.
Anyway, you were talking about the Chiefs piece that he did?
Yeah, he did this really large Kansas City Chiefs piece for a commission that I just absolutely loved that one. It was this guy's favorite characters versus some zombies that were Oakland Raiders. And what was that one piece that had Patrick Mahomes?
All right. Yes. Let me set the table. the The client is a Kansas City Chiefs fan, so he wanted it to take place in Arrowhead Stadium. Okay. So he took his favorite 8 characters: Rambo, Superman, Batman, Spawn, uh, a character from a video game, and Sub-Zero. And he says, well, okay, I want them fighting a horde of Oakland Raider fans that are zombies. So I filled the entire stadium with zombies, and I used Sub-Zero's ice powers to create a platform, and all the heroes are fighting and shooting and kicking and destroying zombies. And the guy that commissioned me, his best friend says, I want you to put in the background, put the sun. But just like the Teletubbies had that little baby in the sun, I want you to put Patrick Mahomes in the sun. Which I thought was hilariously clever. And listen, well, just to give you an idea, this is how big that piece was.
That was
Okay. And just for comparison's sake, this is my hand on top of it. It is huge. I've never done anything like it before. I mean, it was a great Christmas last year. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, that was a tremendous thing to do. And Brett, thank you for bringing it up. It was a lot of fun to do.
that
Again,
was one of my favorites.
I get to learn about Raider fans and all different kinds of jerseys and the last names and all this other stuff. You found it. Russell, good man. That was the one I was talking about earlier.
That's another one of my favorites right there.
And that's marker. That's not paint. That's marker. Oh, wow. You're going to show him everything. See? You see Rambo right there? There's Spawn. I shared all this stuff as I was making it.
Yeah.
I think I even shared a photo of the commissioner with... I got it framed at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I got it framed there, and so much fun.
Yeah, I was scrolling through trying to find that, but I did find the Silver Surfer cover.
If you go back down, there's another one of my favorite ones. Go down right there, that Darth Maul
Snake Eyes one?
Yeah.
On the left-hand side, yeah.
That thing is incredible.
His mask is
right
broken, that one, yeah.
Just right there. That one is incredible. Oh, man, that is amazing.
Actually, somebody in Orlando bought that and had Ray Park sign it when he did an appearance a couple months ago.
I am so jealous of that person. I told him if it didn't sell, it was going to be mine.
Yeah, and when I post, a lot of them there's some of my wrestling stuff. Yeah. I tend to put it all out there. You commission me, yeah, I'm going to share it. Take a look at that Iron Man.
That
one.
Iron Man, that's stellar. I was getting
Everybody
ready to say
knows.
that.
Yeah, you recognize that's a homage cover, right? Yeah. The guy is a Iron Man fan, and he gets sketch covers of all the different variations of Iron Man. He had like 7 left, and War Machine was on. I'm like, okay, let's do that. I'll do War Machine. This is Viral's Joker Unlimited. This is not the final form because there's a lot of empty space. Because I like to kind of over deliver. So he was happy with this, but then I added the Jared Leto Joker on the left and the Dark Knight Joker. There it is. I don't need to say a thing. Just check it out. It's a lot of purple.
It's a lot of purples.
But it was fun. I got to draw George Romero's Joker. I got to draw the Jose Luis Garcia Lopez version of Joker, the one from the 80s from the toys. Lots of fun. That's a Purple Rain homage. When he's on his motorcycle, and I think it's is it his mother or his girlfriend is waiting for him up the stairs and there's steam. It's a cosmic Ghost Rider. Now, my pal in New Jersey specifically had 2 blank sketch covers made for that Ghost Rider #1. It never came out as a Ghost Rider #1, as a sketch cover. He had somebody cut it and design the logo on it, and I said, I'll draw one for you for free. Just give me the other one, you guys. Like, sure. So that one is like super special. I'm saving that for like the super crazy Ghost Rider fan to draw that on that. And that's my brother right there. That's my dad. Yeah, this is the time. That's where I grew up, guys. This is where I grew up. It's in Puerto Rico, in Sabana Grande, Puerto Rico. We moved there when I was 8. I left there when I was 26. So, yeah.
And I could sit here and look at this stuff all day.
I have a guy out of, New Jersey. He's a Spider-Man fan. And every now and then I run a special, and he takes advantage of those specials. Like when I'm desperate for $50, and I'm like, I'll do 2 sketch covers for $50. He says, okay, I'll send you 20 comics. I'm like, oh boy, I'm screwed. So I'm drawing this thing for 3 months for 25 a pop when it's like 50 a pop normally. But you know what? Hey, I'm the sucker putting the deal out there. It's not my fault people take advantage. So there it is.
So there's an Instagram for anybody that wants to go check that out on Facebook and on YouTube. You can go check out some more pieces from Javier.
Here's a piece that I got from Javier that I just absolutely love. Back when Stan Lee passed, I wanted something in memory of Stan Lee. So he did this right here with Spider-Man kneeling over Stan's grave and then Stan Lee in the clouds. That right there is one of my favorites.
And by the way, that's my only Stan Lee drawing I've ever made. It's the only one.
Dang. I feel special now.
Oh, you should have felt special before. No, I'm just kidding.
I did, but now I feel even more special. Dang.
There you go. All right. Wow. I got an early day tomorrow. I got to be at work at 8 o'clock. Can you believe these slave drivers? There's a hurricane and I got to work.
Hey, can you believe I got to be at work at 5 a.m.?
Oh, wow. I thought I was miserable. Jeez.
Well, at least it's not 4 a.m. tomorrow. It's 5
There
a.m. tomorrow. So, usually it's 4 a.m., but tomorrow I'm second load, so I'll have to be in until 5 a.m. So I'm going to kick you guys to the back for a second. You want to hang out? I'll be right back. Thanks so much for being on here. I wish you guys the best with Green Tempest. And everyone, please check out his art page at J Lugo Art. Thanks so much
for being here. And I'm on Facebook too. Brett, thanks for being a great collaborator. Everybody, check out the book. If you like it, support it. If you like it, share it. That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do.
Have a blessed evening.
Thanks so much for watching tonight, folks. Thanks for hanging out and checking out the project. I appreciate you guys being here. And for those of you that come back and watch this, I appreciate you as well. Please like the project, share the project, go through and share it out on Facebook to all your friends. Back it if you can. Throw $1 at it. Backing it even for $1 helps all projects out, because if you back it for $1, anybody that follows you will see the project. It'll pop up in their feed, and then they'll know about it. They may not have seen a post. They may not have heard about it, but you, for the low price of $1, can tell a bunch of people all about it. Got some of the books in today, so I'm excited about that. So you guys stay tuned. I'm hopefully going to start shipping out this weekend. Thanks so much for being here. As always, this is Russ Explode Studios with projects that'll blow your mind. You guys have a great night.